Today we will begin reading Section 2 of Spirit Animals, the First Greencloak. It begins on page 8 underneath the scroll mark. It begins for the next week. As you read, be sure to annotate the text by circling and defining words you don't know, underlining or starring important passages or ideas, writing your own ideas in the margins, making inferences, and writing questions. For the next week, Uraza thought that the foreigners had learned their lesson. The sweet smell of distant fires reached her when the breezes blew westward, but no humans violated her borders. Then, on the 9th day, as she stalked a herd of gazelles across the grassy highveld, Uraza's nose once again caught the smell of invaders on the wind. She reluctantly turned from her prey and made her way down to the savannah. She circled around the group at a distance to get upwind of them, wary of so many. They had crossed the Kongwani River and were already well into her hunting grounds. This was a crowd of humans, but also many other animals. Coyotes, dingoes, wallabies, kangaroos, snakes, and several others. And there was another smell with them, something sour and unnatural. It was nothing that Uraza could recall having encountered before, even with her thousands of years of memory. She pulled up short as she peered over a small hillock to determine the best route of attack. She caught a slight movement out of the corner of her eye, but pretended not to notice. Instead, she looked over the hill and tensed, as if to charge forward. Then, with no warning, she leaped to the side. The two figures hiding in the grass were caught by surprise, and Uraza effortlessly brushed aside the green cloak they were hiding under and pinned each of them with one of her front paws. They struggled instinctively, but she gave a low growl, and they immediately stopped. Under her left paw was a vervet monkey, looking up at her sheepishly, with its pinched black face and gray fur. But the monkey didn't concern her. Nearly crushed under her right paw was a boy, still gripping a spear in his right hand. She leaned in close, sniffing him and staring into his eyes. The boy and the monkey had been hiding under a green cloak the same color as the grasses of the savannah, and the boy was covered from head to toe in mud. Despite herself, Uraza smiled. The mud would have locked in his scent, allowing him to stalk the savannah unobserved, even by humans accompanied by spirit animals with a strong sense of smell. "What are you doing here?" Uraza demanded quietly. "You wear the goat skin of the Vendani and know how to hunt the grasslands, so you must know that it is forbidden to trespass on my hunting grounds." The boy gulped nervously, but then looked her straight in the eyes. "Yes, I know the laws of the savannah, but they don't matter now. I'm here to save you." Uraza rocked back on her haunches, shaking with laughter. "You're just a boy with a spear. Perhaps I'll spare you, since you're clearly insane. A great beast doesn't need a little kitten like you to help her." But the boy looked back calmly. "I'm not a boy. I endured the nights of fire and summoned Omaka, my spirit animal. I'm a man, a warrior. I'm Tembo of the Vendani, and I'm going to save you, great beast or not." Uraza pulled her paws back, and the monkey jumped around the boy's neck, hissing at her. "Very well, little warrior. I know enough of the Vendani. The word means goat thief in many languages. How is a goat thief possibly going to save a great beast?" The boy bristled. He looked her in the eye. "The conquerors below aren't here to hunt your game. They're here to hunt you, to capture you, and to steal something from you." Uraza growled, and the boy's monkey dove to hide behind his back. Tembo himself didn't flinch. "How do you know this?" she asked. 1 year ago they offered my people a truce. But on the first night after the peace was made, they took us by surprise. They torched our village. They slaughtered our goats, every one of them." The massive leopard knew what that must have meant to the boy's tribe. The Vendani were goat herders. They ate goat meat, goat milk, and goat cheese. They wore goat skins. Vast herds of goats were their pride and their wealth. The Vendani were renowned throughout Nilo as fierce warriors who would defend their herds from thieves, jackals, and even lions. "Most of us surrendered on that day, but I swore that my people would be free. I am part of a small resistance. 3 days ago I snuck into the camp of the men below to steal their supplies. I overheard them bragging that they were coming into your territory to capture you. They hope to find something hidden in your hunting grounds." Uraza stretched, flexing her muscles. "Human swords and bows are no threat to me." Tembo shook his head. They have some sort of weapon that they think will give them an advantage. Give me time to sneak in again and discover their secret, and then we'll beat them together." Eureka simply laughed at him, sending his monkey scurrying for cover again. "They are arrogant fools, and you are just as much a fool for thinking I need you. Watch me drive them from my lands, and I'll let you go home to tell stories of the ferocity of the great cat of the grasslands." She expected him to continue begging her not to go, but the boy just gave her a long look, then shrugged. "If you want to fight alone, I won't stop you." The cat reached out a paw and pinned him to the ground again, letting her claws come out just enough to press dangerously into Tembo's neck. "I'm the greatest predator on the continent, better than even that miserly fool Cabero. I don't need your help, I don't care for your kind, and I will have nothing to do with your petty conflicts." Tembo just raised an eyebrow as the claw dug into his flesh. "Are you trying to convince me, or to convince yourself?" Eureka pushed him away, sending the young warrior rolling into the tall grass. "Watch!" she thundered, and leaped over the hill, then charged down the grass towards the invaders. In the camp below there were shouts of alarm. The huge leopard let out a roar that shook the grasslands. Her body flew, legs surging with ancient strength. She was fury in the flesh, and she smashed through the first conquerors without slowing. She dove into a knot of them, sending humans and spirit animals flying. Swords barely nicked her fur, and arrows felt like tiny pinches. "Let that foolish kitten on the hill watch how a great beast protects her territory," she thought. The center of the camp was emptied in moments, with most conquerors fleeing, and those who stayed falling easily to her claws. The sour scent was stronger here, and as a woman with an axe charged her, she noticed that its edge was coated with a sticky black substance. "Poison?" Eureka smiled, baring her fangs. That was their secret weapon? Humans had tried to poison great beasts before. Arsenic, hemlock extract, plagues, it didn't matter. They were the rulers of the wild, and they were immune to poison and sickness. She batted the axe away effortlessly with a paw and sent the conqueror reeling with a sweep of her tail. There were shouts from the grasslands outside of the camp where the conquerors were reforming. Eureka stomped out of the camp to meet them, slashing a few tents and leaving them collapsing behind her as she went. The foreigners had formed a shield wall, a barrier of tall steel shields bristling with spears. Eureka advanced, and arrows flew from behind the wall. They mostly bounced harmlessly off her, but occasionally one would dig into her side. There was a tingle with each puncture, but the sensation was no worse than a slight prick. She surged forward, trying to push their spears aside with her paws, but there were too many. Eureka leaped to the left, and the conquerors pivoted in unison, spinning the wall to face her. She jumped back to her right, but they hustled to adjust, keeping the forest of spears pointed at her. She backed up slowly, growling. Then she charged, paws thundering on the ground as she gained speed. The soldiers ahead of her dug in, lowering their spears and bracing against their shields. More arrows flew at her, buffeting her like a wind of thorns. She grinned, showing them the white of her fangs. She could see their eyes go wide, but the spears stayed pointed straight at her. Just moments before she reached the spears, Eureka leaped. She launched into the air, sailing high over the shields. Only one of the enemies managed to raise his spear in time, and it raked along her side. She felt a burning as the black substance coating its blade rubbed into the wound. The leopard landed among the archers, sending them sprawling. With a few slashes from her claws, more conquerors fell before her. But something was wrong. She leaped backwards and felt a strange weakness in her legs. More arrows thudded into her at close range, each bringing with it a burst of the burning sensation from the black substance. Eureka backed away slowly, her muscles quivering feverishly. Something was sapping her strength, weakening her with every passing moment. Now the conquerors advanced, forming a ring with their spears pointing in at her. This was how tribes like the Vandani hunted lions, not a great beast like her. This was an insult. "I am Eureka, undisputed queen of the grasslands," she bellowed. "You will leave my lands, or I will kill every one of you." The leader of the conquerors motioned, and the circle tightened. She was a tall, imposing woman with teeth sharpened into points that matched the serpentine crest on her helmet and the lizard curling around her neck. "Be a good kitty, and lie down nice and easy," she said. Eureka roared and charged forward, but she was greeted by a cluster of spear points and was forced back. The poison-tipped weapons left several new wounds in her coat. She knew that a great beast body would adapt to this substance, but it would take time. That wouldn't help her now. Her feline instincts told her that she didn't have the strength to defeat this many. She turned to run, but they had her surrounded. As her vision became blurry, the circle tightened. She gave a feeble roar and attempted to charge for the weakest point in the ring, but her legs buckled. The enemy advanced, spears lowered, and dripping with the black poison. She lashed out, but the more weapons pierced her, the more the burning grew, coursing through her legs and making her shoulder muscles spasm. She fell down into the grass and struggled to stand again. Her legs refused to respond. She could do nothing but snap her jaws at the human. The last thing she saw before a curtain of darkness descended was the Conqueror Woman's crocodile grin as she advanced. That is the end of section 2.